Hey, Sean, welcome to an evening post. Thank you for clicking on this. I appreciate that. I am feeling good today because of a number of reasons. One of them is probably the fact that yesterday, for the first time in, a pandemic or so, I ate really well all day. I had only 2 meals. They were largely vegetable based. I didn't have any snacks, any sweets. Normally I have at least a few lifesavers during the day, like wintergreen lifesaver mints. So there's always just sugar, and I had none yesterday. And I slept really well, and I feel good today. And while this is not a scientific control of that's the only thing that's better, I'm focusing on some different things and learning and growing and changing and a lot of things. But one of the things that's also playing a little role is that for the past couple days, I haven't checked the news. I haven't checked the news, and I haven't watched any TV shows that have been particularly dark or dramatic. It occurred to me that there is this similarity, this link between a mental health diet and a physical diet. And this is not, breaking news by any means, but if you eat garbage all day, every day, you're gonna feel a certain way and your body's gonna react to that, etc., etc. If you eat pretty well, but every day you have 1 candy bar, you're still gonna feel effects of that, and your body, your life is going to be different than if you ate really well and didn't have a candy bar every single day. And for a while, I was having a dessert every single night, and I felt a certain way because of that. And I slept a little more poorly, and I was out of shape, and I was lower energy, and it was just not a good place to be. But the same thing is true of the media and the information that we digest. And I talked about this a couple days ago with Ted Lasso, but there's a lot of different shows out there, and beyond shows, news and people, and different things that you interact with, that you have control over whether or not you interact with them. And based on how much you do of each of these things, you're going to have a different reality. You're going to affect your life. If you're constantly around negative people, if you work at a job where everybody's just pessimistic and down all the time, that's going to affect you. That's like eating bad candy bars all day, where even if you, outside of work are with jovial, fun people, it's going to have a tangible impact if you're constantly surrounded by that negativity, or if you always watch really dramatic shows and dark comedy. Whatever you're watching will have an effect on that. And the news, and if you're constantly checking for the news and rooting for things and getting involved, it's going to have a negative impact on you to an extent. You really need to have a diet, almost like a nutritionist, but put a plan together that says, how much of my day do I want to spend reading news from this, watching TV shows that make me feel like this, versus how much of my time do I want to spend doing other things that lift me up or build me up? I don't know the right answer for everybody because it's going to be different, but for me, I'm finding that the more I minimize of some of this stuff, the happier I feel. And I can look back at other points in my life where I've done this. And toward the beginning of the pandemic, I made a podcast about it, but I didn't touch a device for 48 hours. Not a phone, not a watch, not a TV or a computer. I was just completely unplugged. And I ended up reading quite a bit. And I went outside and just, my life was different for a couple days, and it was cool. It was neat. And so that's an extreme. And I don't want to live in that place because I like communicating with people more than that. But take a look at where you're spending your time, what you're ingesting, not only with your actual food diet, but what are you ingesting with your personality? What are you ingesting with your relationships, with your friendships, with your job, with your free time? Because if you're really not paying attention to it, it can be easy to slip into a routine where you're binging on some awful dark things and you're hanging out with people who are needlessly negative, and you end up just sort of skewing your perspective and having a different experience than you would if you were surrounded by more positivity and more happy things. So this isn't as specific as, hey, go watch Ted Lasso, but just take a step back and say, what are you ingesting with information and with entertainment that might be having some sort of an effect on you, and just do an evaluation and see what's right for you, and maybe do a little test and stay away from something for a week, see how it feels. If you're somebody who celebrates Lent or recognizes, exercises Lent, maybe this is an opportunity to give up some of that and see how it affects your life moving forward. But that's all I got. Just take a moment to look back and say, what is entering my life, and what do I have the control to say, actually, no, I'm going to limit that element from my life for a little while. That's all I got. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.